But let's get all the latest from our very own Tom Brook, who's been there at the Dolby Theatre all night. Tom, let's just start with Rami Malek and Bohemian Rhapsody, because it's been a real journey for this film.
It certainly has. The film was quite a troubled production, but it's done really well tonight. It's won 4 Oscar trophies overall. It's won for Rami Malek, he won for Best Actor, it won Sound Awards and for film editing. And I think the reason why the film has done well is because it's so popular with audiences. It actually got very bad reviews when it was released, but audiences really like this film. That certainly, I think, persuaded Academy members in many instances to vote for Rami Malek. And it's just resonated with people. They really like it.
Now, in other breaking news, we've just had actress in a leading role, Olivia Colman, for The Favourite. It's been a disappointing night for that movie, but maybe a happy ending.
It has been a disappointing night in that it had 10 nominations going into the Oscars, and Olivia Colman winning is great for the film, but it is a bit of a surprise. People thought that that trophy was going to go to Glenn Close, a Hollywood veteran who'd been nominated 7 times for an Oscar and never won. People thought that tonight was the night for her, but it's a great, great award for Olivia Colman. She really is the heart of this film, playing Queen Anne. The film has really been enormously popular from the time of its release at the Venice Film Festival last year. So although it hasn't won many trophies, it has got a very significant trophy for the main character in the film.
Now, we do have a couple of the major awards still to go, but Roma, foreign language film, has done very well too.
Roma so far has got 2 awards. It's won for cinematography and best foreign language film. That film also had 10 nominations going into the Oscars. The conventional wisdom is that it will win for best picture, but it's very uncertain, this Oscars race. People say that if Roma doesn't win, Green Book could perhaps pull off an upset. We just don't know. But so far, getting 2 awards isn't bad, but it's important, obviously, for Alfonso Cuarón that he wins for Best Director and that his film wins for Best Director. We'll just have to wait and see. It won't be much longer.
Now, just very briefly, we have to ask before we let you go, Lady Gaga gave a very emotional speech for winning original song.
Well, I didn't catch the speech. I saw her performance, but she is quite an emotional person, so that doesn't surprise me at all.
Tom Brook, thank you very much for that, keeping us all up to date on what's been happening at the Oscars this evening. Let's get some of the day's other news now. Well, let's just bring you some more breaking news coming out of the Oscars. We've just heard from the final award category there. As the ceremony wraps up, Best Picture has been won by Green Book. Best Picture won by Green Book at the Oscars. It's been a good night for that film. Mahershala Ali has won Best Supporting Actor as well in that film. But that wraps up the Oscars then. Best Picture going to Green Book, final award of the night. Congratulations to them. But do stay with us on BBC News. Still to come, well, the Oscars ceremony has just ended, but parties are getting underway.
Yes, 3 Oscars for Green Book, 3 for Roma, 3 for Black Panther and 4 for Bohemian Rhapsody. This is the Vanity Fair party in Beverly Hills where people will be arriving shortly to celebrate the Oscars' success.
Well, let's get more on the Oscars now. That ceremony has just finished, but of course what comes next are the after parties. And Dan Johnson is one of the major ones, the Vanity Fair party. Dan, thank you very much for joining us. What's happening where you are?
Still pretty quiet here because the Oscars have only just finished across in Hollywood, so people haven't made it here yet, apart from the early birds who are here to actually watch the ceremony here, the people who didn't have a ticket for the Dolby Theatre itself. They came in about 2 or 3 hours ago and have been watching the Oscars in there, but now we're expecting the winners to turn up and celebrate here, clutching their Oscars and hopefully willing to tell us how happy they are to have won, because it's been an interesting night, some varied success, no real standout single single film that's won everything. There have been some surprising results, a lot to celebrate, and we'll look forward to seeing who turns up in the smart suits and the fancy dresses soon.
Well, indeed, speaking of some of the winners, the biggest awards they save for the end of the night, just to keep us interested. And we've seen Best Picture Green Book and Best Directing Roma.
Yes, Roma has done well tonight. It's won 3 awards. That is an achievement because it's a Netflix production that's barely been seen in cinemas. It only had a limited release just so that it qualified for the Oscars and for other award ceremonies. It's a black and white Mexican film, which is in subtitles if you're watching in English. It's not exactly an instantly accessible film. It's long and quite slow-paced. A lot of people I've talked to have said they actually struggled to watch it right through in one go. But it's a beautiful piece of work which director Alfonso Cuarón has drawn on his whole experience from his childhood growing up in Mexico to tell this story of a housemaid's real life and the life of a family growing up in that part of Mexico. So a real achievement there for Netflix, who are now challenging the major cinema studios, the major movie studios. Now, the other success of the night, Green Book taking Best Picture, that is something to celebrate. A fantastic film that stars Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali. This is a road trip movie through the racially segregated South of America set in the 1960s. A beautiful story. And then Olivia Colman was the other surprise of the night, beating Ben Close to the Best Actress prize.
Yes, of course, a big, good night for Olivia Colman. Probably disappointed with the other awards, but she did get Best Actress. Dan Johnson, thank you very much at the Vanity Fair party, where I'm sure things will get underway. And I'm told he's not allowed in, so I'm sure he's disappointed with that. Do stay with us here on BBC News.